guys, K-Bear 101 here. We are heading to the Human Rights Museum, and I'm here with my mom and Oma, and they are going to share some amazing cool facts actually about our family history that I didn't even know about. And we're just, come along with us as we take a little adventure. Hang on, let me back up a little bit. Okay, let's go. Let's go, you two. Look at that. Hello in every language. That is so cool. We're just going with Mom and Oma now to get our tickets. Oma, you excited?
Yes, I am.
Well, you'll get some grandmother-granddaughter time, so.
Sure, yeah.
So we're just going now to buy our tickets, and then we will get started on this adventure. So we just got in the museum. Mom and Oma are right behind me. You two ready for some fun?
Yep.
This is gonna be awesome! So we are just heading towards the museum now to the first exhibits. Like, hang on, if you guys can look here, that's how big it is from up there. It's huge! Here, guys, here's the first exhibit of the Human Rights Museum. How cool is this? This is so cool. Like, look at that. Oh my goodness, that is so cool. Apparently that's a pillar fragment from around 250 BC. How cool is that? That looks so cool. And apparently what we got here is raw salt from Gujarat, India. How cool is that? Apparently it led thousands of Indians in a march to collect sea salt, defying British control of the salt industry. At least that's what it says right here. What we have here is a shortwave radio. Look at that. Apparently from when freedom of expression was suppressed in the Soviet Union through deliberate jamming of wireless signals, citizens used Latvian-made radios like this one to listen to Western broadcasts. They learned about growing human rights movements and other forbidden topics. The Soviet Union began its collapse in 1980. So that is cool. These are really cool exhibits. And what we got here is apparently it's called Oro Verde. It says here it's a green gold that was extracted by Afro-Colombian miners in the Coco rainforest region of Colombia using ancestral methods that are environmentally sustainable and consistent with human rights standards. Look at that! That is cool! Alright, let's go catch up with Mom and Oma because I don't know where they went. You two move pretty fast. Guys, look at this. Oh, that is beautiful. You having fun, Oma? Like, this is like Native American art and culture. Like, that is very indigenous. Thank you. Like, oh my goodness, this is so cool. This is so cool. Look at that. That is so beautiful.
Touch how it feels.
Oh, how does it feel? Oh, wow, that feels weird.
Yeah, it's all beaded.
That is so cool. They what?
Can you imagine how long it took to do this?
They hand sewed that, Mom?
It's all hand beaded, yeah.
Like, you're kidding. How do you know that?
Because that's how they do it. It's the indigenous ways to do everything by hand.
That is incredible. Oh my, I could see you making something like this.
Forever, yeah.
Still, like,
Take a couple of years. It's very beautiful.
still, if Oma did this, if you were younger, Oma, you could have made something like this.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised with your skills. We just entered another part of the exhibit. This looks very cool. Isn't that German?
That's French.
Oh, that's French. Okay, I don't know. I mean, I know our family's part German, right?
Yep.
Oma, you coming? Oh, look at all this. Oh, look at this. This is under suspicion, Japanese, Canadian wartime rights. Look at that.
Second World War.
During the Second World War?
Yeah. There were Japanese internment camps in Canada.
Back in those times, right?
In BC, I believe. There were some in BC
Why did they have war camps?
because of the bombing of Pearl Harbor. They believed that
Yeah, but those are people that lived there and worked there, and then once the
Look at that. Like, these are IDs.
happened, that's when they were put into camps and not very good conditions.
So, it was because of Pearl Harbor?
yeah, after they worked here, they were brought here. They worked here on the bridges and things like that. They claimed they were Canadian citizens, but after Pearl Harbor was bombed,
Yeah?
they were put in camps because they were afraid that the Japanese would plot against Canada.
So they let the fear control. So you're technically saying that they were so scared they let the fear control them,
Yeah, and they put them in camps so that
they couldn't get hurt again. I'm guessing.
they took their houses, they took
Oh
their
no,
businesses, they took everything that they had and just put them in camps.
that's just ridiculous. Mom, look at this. Japanese IDs. That is just, and I'm guessing.
Anybody, see, here's a list. Anybody,
It says here, take notice that under orders of 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 24th of the British Columbia Security Commissions, the following areas were made prohibited, like
yeah, if you were
Lulu.
Japanese, you couldn't live in any of those areas.
That's in my. How do I say this? That's ridiculous.
Well, yeah, but back then, that's what they did. They were,
This is all they could take with them?
yeah, this was some of their stuff.
Like, wow, like you could see a pot, some blankets, and a bunch of other suitcases.
They were forced to leave their land. and-
Yeah, right here it says the evacuation notice in a Vancouver newspaper in 1942, and it says here's their survival goods were family suitcases, Hudson Bay blankets, ladle, wooden form made from tofu. That is,
in isolated areas.
that's kind of, what?
This is for you.
What? We are all person, what, struggle?
Struggle for women's rights.
How is this me?
You're a woman.
You have no rights.
Okay, you know what?
You have no rights. You're not a woman, not according to that.
Really, hold on.
In the 1900s, in the early 1900s,
In the
no.
1900s, you were considered a
Women,
Really? Even in 1997, I would have been considered?
they were known as men's wives and
Charter of Rights
daughters.
and Freedoms legally protected women only in 1982.
Are you kidding me?
Started in 1982.
Why does that make me so angry?
They were men's wives and daughters. That's all they were.
Are you kidding me?
Persons under the law.
Look at that briefcase. Wow. Apparently, it's a strong case for women, a briefcase owned by Louis McKinney.
That
is cool.
That is so.
What, Mom?
Nothing, I'm just looking.
They also have over here Global Women's March hat from the 2000s.
Politics or anything.
Like they couldn't run for president or anything?
We don't have president. They couldn't
You get what I mean?
They couldn't be in government of any kind because they didn't qualify as people.
That's just so sad. I'm sorry.
Qualified as people.
That is so sad. Ooh, what's this? Unequal by marriage. Letter to Annie Gagan from India. Affairs 1945. Look at that. Like, yeah?
In Canada that were allowed to vote.
You're kidding.
Manitoba was the first province that allowed it.
Well, now you know, guys. Canadian women, Winnipeg women were the first to vote. Like, that's incredible. Oh, look at that. Look at these pictures. Like, women mourn. Like, this is nuts.
Came in from Halifax.
First ones came in Halifax on ships.
And you came in.
We came in 59, and we came to
What's this exhibit about?
by plane.
The immigrants that
people.
came.
We were considered DPs, displaced people.
Displaced people? What's that?
Well,
From
we wanted to
Germany
get
during
away
the
from
war.
Germany, but we couldn't get into Canada. Canada closed their borders, so we went to Paraguay, and then 10 years later, we came to Canada, and we were considered displaced people.
So what you and your family went through, you were displaced people?
Yes, from Germany.
Okay, I didn't know that.
My parents originally came from the Ukraine, and they were being afraid of being sent back to the Ukraine after the war.
Wow.
Because once they got to Germany
Uh-huh.
and the war was ending, Germany made a deal with Russia
Uh-huh.
that They left, but they got to take all their people back. Russia got to take all their people back.
Yeah, you said because of that, that's how Opa was able to leave.
But we were in,
But because they were
my
from
parents
Russia.
lived in Russia. They were supposed to be sent back to
So
Russia.
that's why they went to Paraguay. They couldn't get into Canada because Canada closed the borders.
So I'm guessing this picture shows people.
Here's some of them
Halifax.
coming from Halifax.
Yeah, because it says right here,
Yeah.
Germans arriving in Halifax after the Second World War.
Yeah, see, in 1948, that's when Oma and Opa, my Oma and Opa,
Uh-huh.
went to Germany and had Oma.
Oma, they had you.
Yeah, I was born in 48
Okay.
in Germany.
Okay, that is cool.
And then I guess it was, what year did you come to Canada?
Hang on, let me
In
back.
49 we went to Paraguay, and in 59 we came to Canada.
Wow, like Oma, weren't you scared though when you had to leave?
Well, I was a baby, so I didn't know.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought you were.
No, I was just a baby when we left.
Hey, aren't these the
are the red
red dresses? Like I learned about this through the news. Like for Indigenous
For
women.
the missing and murdered Indigenous women.
Yeah, the women, Indigenous women who were missing and murdered and were never found.
Yeah, and the red dresses call attention to that.
May I ask? I don't know if you know, but why red? Like,
Because you easily see in the anywhere that
maybe just for the innocent lives, maybe?
the blood that was there.
That's what I'm thinking.
The Red Dress Project.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
what does it say?
a response to the overwhelming number of missing and murdered Indigenous Aboriginal women.
So it's supposed to represent those who were murdered.
Or missing, yeah.
Okay, that's good to know. That still happens today, though, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, there's constantly missing.
We have another exhibit here. This one's Confrontation on Main Street, Winnipeg's Oh, the Winnipeg General Strike. Yes,
The first strike.
I saw downtown. There's what looks like a cable car, a train car on the side. Like I've seen that. They say that's supposed to represent something from the Winnipeg strike.
Yeah, it was the first time.
Was it that bad?
It was the first time workers were actually taken care of. They were on strike in order for.
It says here that the OBU sought to unite workers, men, women, and all ethnocultural backgrounds from all industries.
In order for them to have rights.
Look at that, Workers' Liberty Bond, Police of Cerebral Special Piece of Winnipeg.
Yeah, I think it was about 6 or 7 weeks long.
Huh?
It was 6 or 7 weeks long,
Uh-huh.
and 35,000 people were on strike in downtown Winnipeg.
Did any people get hurt or? It says here that Winnipeg's 1920 workers in the city main industries unionized sought better working, so they wanted better working conditions.
Yeah, they wanted, because they were working long hours without very much pay. There wasn't very much lighting in downtown.
And I'm guessing that's what this photo shows here, a bit of the strike right there.
Yeah.
That's
It was
nuts.
unsafe work experiences.
Not, like how unsafe exactly?
They were working long hours. They weren't getting paid for it. They were in places where they could barely breathe.
Very crowded, no ventilation.
It was basically slave labor.
Like technically slave-like conditions.
Yeah.
Okay, ban the ballot, right to. So this must have been the right to vote.
Yeah. Because women weren't allowed to vote.
Uh huh.
The Indigenous people weren't allowed to vote, whether you were male or female.
Uh huh.
And
And
even some of the Mennonites who were pacifists, because we were pacifists and not participating in the military, they weren't, because we weren't willing to be part of the military, they weren't allowed to vote because they figured if you're not willing to fight for your country, why should you?
well, likewise, should you vote?
Yeah.
Taking that is the neatest exhibit I've ever seen. That is cool. The way they did that, I like that.
This is marriage, like gay marriage,
Like
anybody being allowed to get married.
that is incredible.
The first gay marriage in Winnipeg was in 1974.
Repeat that?
I said the first gay marriage in Winnipeg was in 1974.
No way.
Yeah.
But wasn't it illegal back then? If I remember correctly, back then, yeah, it says right here, in 1974, Winnipeg activists Chris Vogel and Richard North exchanged wedding vows at a Unitarian church.
Yeah.
Their main goal was to generate positive publicity about gay relationships. They felt it was discriminatory to refuse same-sex couples the right to wed, denied a marriage license. They made history by launching the first court battle in Canada to achieve legal same-sex marriage. They lost, though. Ouch. 30 years later, North and Vogel were part of the court case that won the right to same-sex marriage for Manitoba, yet they chose not to proceed with legal wedding. Instead, they asked the province to official register their 1974 union. Wow.
Yeah.
That's nuts. That is nuts. Protecting language rights. Cool. Look at that.
An Inuk from Kimmerut, Nunavut.
That is so cool. Bill C-120. There we go.
One of the 3 official languages of Nunavut.
And you have a I Love Pasta shirt. I don't know why there's an I Love Pasta shirt.
Because it's their language.
Oh, okay. There's so many different languages here.
Now there are.
Really?
It used to be only English and French.
But now
They're allowing
they're allowing many other
the
languages.
indigenous languages are actually being taught at university levels now. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken,
Uh-huh.
if you go to university, you have to take some sort of indigenous course just to study it, because those are the original languages of Canada, not
That is cool. Isn't this the residential schools? Yeah, back in those times. I want to get rid of the Indian problem. Our objective is to continue until there's not a single Indian in Canada that has not been absorbed into a body political. Oh my goodness.
friend's grandma
You,
in an indigenous residential school in BC,
no way.
and her sister
Uh-huh.
got
and
pregnant
that this
from
policy
one
has
of
had a
the
lasting damaging impact on
Catholic
Aboriginal
priests.
No. Did she have the baby?
The baby was thrown into the furnace as soon as it was born.
Oh no.
Because they didn't want any
le nombre de
record
pensionnats indiens avait
of what was
commencé à
happening
diminuer.
in residential schools
But
by
what-
the
Mais le système canadien de protection de l'enfance
Oh man.
continue.
What sucks, Mom, is look at this. Like it's like you could see in these pictures they're changing everything that they believe in. That's just
and
sad.
they
Le programme se fait
weren't
connaître
names.
sous
Like look at this one right here.
They had numbers,
It was
so they were only
this
numbers. They weren't names.
You've got to be kidding me.
No,
children being
But isn't it true that they would give them to new families?
that's the 60s scoop. That was later.
Okay.
They would advertise in the 60s scoop. They advertised them in newspapers.
a lot of them had
To get people to give them to better families.
What they believed were better families.
That's ridiculous. Like, and look, Edmonton. That's where I'm from.
Yeah, that's where you were born.
and for them
I can't believe Edmonton did that.
Manitoba had them. I think the last
Uh-huh.
residential school was closed the year your dad and I got married.
No way.
1996. That was the
And
last.
yet, how long did it take
my first foster home was
Years.
till it was discovered?
Oh, they only discovered it in the last years. They only talked about it in the last years. It's always been there.
But then no one's ever paid attention to it till now.
Nobody cared about it.
foster
Yeah.
mom actually
It says here the goal was to take our culture and language away from us. That's just sad. That's sad. Oh, there's Omat. Because I'm like, where'd she go? You can sit down, Mom, if you want, if you're tired.
It's fine. I'm just looking.
Apparently, this one is Chinese-Canadian immigration policies. So, look at this, though. Apparently, this statue is remembering the workers. Bronze statue of Chinese men working the railways, made by someone named Professor Wang Danyi. Like, look at that statue. Like, wow, that is beautiful. And apparently what we got here is discrimination by taxation. And there are these certificates. Apparently it says right here that the government had increased head tax from 50 to 500 to further discourage Chinese immigration. That is just sad. Look at that. And like you look at these pictures like, oh my goodness, this is just so sad. It breaks my heart to know that they had to go through that. It really sucks. Like, and they helped with the railways, and oh my goodness, this just breaks my heart.
Creuser.
Inclusion for all people with disabilities. Ooh, I might like this one.
Laboring.
This one I like because, you know,
With your disability, yeah.
well, I have autism, so I know disability is different. It might be different here,
No, it's any kind of disability.
mental or physical.
Yeah.
Okay, then I like this one. I like this one.
If you were alive
Uh-huh.
in the 60s and 70s, you and Malachi would have just been put in a mental institution
No way.
because it's a mental disability, because you would have been called retarded.
We would have been called crazy and
You would have
stuff
been
like that.
called retarded.
Oh my goodness.
And they would have just put you in a mental institution, and you would have lived there your whole life.
Well, and look at some of the stuff here, like support disability rights, deal with us. I like that one, deal with us.
And often they used electric shock therapy.
Electric shock therapy? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
That is messed up.
Yeah.
And look at this. Apparently, this was a crib cage.
That's probably what you would have slept in as a
You've
baby.
got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
That's, pardon my
In
language,
order
but
to
that's
keep you-
stupid.
Because you have developmental disabilities, that's the kind of bed you would have slept in.
Oh my goodness, that is just, no. Well, and I like how people, like you can see in this picture, they're standing up for their rights, so.
Well, she's blind, yeah, and they didn't have rights.
I think this exhibit might be my favorite out of all of them. Land and Lifeway. Ooh, that's cool.
These are for the Inuit rights.
Cool.
1940s.
That is cool. Look at that. I've seen movies about these guys, but to see actual history about it is really cool. We're now at the Freedom of Faith exhibit.
Yeah, it was like the religious, being able to have the religious rights to worship whoever and whatever you want.
So like Christians and all those kind of people.
Muslims, Jehovah's Witnesses, whatever religion you were, gave you the right to practice that religion.
That is cool. Okay, this one is spooky. Huh?
This is the Underground Railroad.
No!
Why do you have to be so loud? Yes.
I love the stories of the Underground Railroad. Harriet Tubman helped with the Underground Railroad. They say that it was how slaves, Harriet Tubman helped people escape through the Underground Railroad, and so many
It was
slaves.
in the East Coast, Ontario, Nova Scotia.
But apparently it got so bad that they had to make the railroad all the way to Canada.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying Ontario.
Like, guys, I kid you not. If you want to learn more about the Underground Railroad, my best example that you would want to look up to is Harriet Tubman. She gives a good explanation of story about the Underground Railroad. It's such a great story. Huh?
This is your dad's son.
This is my dad's side of the family?
The Métis, yeah.
No way, we're part Métis?
You are part Métis, yes.
Cool!
Great-great-great-grandfather, I think, what they called then an Indian princess.
Cool!
Grandpa's side of the
I
family.
had a great-great-great-grandma who was an Indian princess. How cool
Grandpa's
is
side of the
that?
family was native.
No way.
Grandma's side of the family was European.
Still, that is cool to find out a great-great-grandma who was an Indian princess. That's cool. Oh, I learned about this guy in school.
Anymore. Yeah, that's Louis Riel. He was
No,
the
I know
first-
they don't call them that anymore, but...
He was the first prime minister of or he was the first premier of Manitoba.
Oh, I thought it was of Canada.
No, Manitoba.
Well, imagine how long this must have taken to make.
Yeah, he's the reason why Manitoba is.
This is so cool. Like the disability one, that was my favorite.
Oh, good.
This one's Fragile Liberties, Emergency Measures.
Which the provincial
Mom, this is a
government
prison
mostly
cell.
rejects.
And she's talking with Oma. Mom and Oma are going off.
Minister Pierre Laporte.
Look at that. Oh my goodness. Apparently this camera allows you to... Hey, look at that. That is cool.
Crisis grows. The federal cabinet meets in an emergency session.
What, Mom, Oma, what are you guys doing? What's that?
You can tell your stories.
Oh, that is cool. So that's all the exhibits for here then. I like that prison one because there's a camera that lets you just stand outside the prison door. You having fun, Oma?
It's nice. It's very interesting, I find.
Well, yeah. Women resistance? Oh, when the policeman grasped my shoulders, managed or grabbed my legs, they carried me out of my theater into the streets. This woman sounds familiar.
And she said, I'd like a main floor ticket.
Who? Do you know anything about her?
She's a black woman who went to see a movie, bought a ticket to the movie,
Uh-huh.
and she wanted the movie on the main floor, but because she was black, she couldn't buy a ticket for the main floor.
So, and they kicked her out because of it.
No, she bought a ticket and went inside of the main floor theater, and then they had her arrested and carried her out.
Oh my goodness, that is just... Apparently this is what she looked like, guys. She's beautiful.
This white burly police officer grabbed her by the shoulders and physically dragged.
No way. That is cool. All right, should we go to the next one? So we're heading up, guys, and if you wonder how big this place is, this is how big it is if you want to get a good perspective. Like, it's huge. We have a lot more to go. Mom, didn't you say this was the only human rights museum in Canada?
I believe so, yeah. They wanted to do it when we lived in Alberta. They tried to do it in Alberta, but Alberta didn't want it.
So they've asked many
So
other
they asked-
countries.
They asked Manitoba, and Manitoba was all for it. So
So, but no other parts of Canada wanted it.
there was a lot of them that didn't know.
Okay, that's good to know. So there you go. A lot of people in Canada were asked about this museum. Oh,
It wasn't important.
yeah, so apparently people didn't think it was important, but Winnipeg thought, hey, this is important for people to learn, so they added it so they built a museum here in Winnipeg. That's cool. I like this museum. I think I've only ever been here one other time. It was with my Opa before he passed away. So, yeah, but this is cool. Like, look at these pictures. That is so cool. There's pictures of so many different people. Like, look at that. You have a little girl to all the way to, like, yeah, this is incredible. All right, on to the next exhibit. This one. We've made it to this one. Protecting Rights in Canada. Okay. Ooh, look at this. That is so cool. Oh, sorry, I don't know why my camera just did that. Apparently that's a British common law traditional dates to medieval period in England. Wow. Also says here that the body of unwritten law is diverted from precedent, which means that when judges make decisions, they are bound by previous court rulings and tradition. Parliament also tend to be a powerful branch of government. So look at that. That is very cool. Gender rights. Look at that. What's in here? Just, I don't know.
It's just a place to sit and think. It's just a place to sit and think about everything you see in here.
That's cool.
It's called the Garden of Contemplation.
Cool. You just need a break?
Let's contemplate.
Yeah.
No, you two just need a break because you're tired. You two just want to take a break.
There's the elevators, okay?
Yeah, we can take the elevator up if you want.
Yeah, Oma, if you need to take the elevator, we can.
I think so. Yeah, we have to.
Yeah, we could take the elevator, no problem. Apparently there's something here about human trafficking. I don't know, do I stand here? Oh, okay, apparently I do. Okay, that is cool. I didn't know I could, okay. Okay, I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. Think I'm supposed to point at it? Yeah, there we go. Wait, oh, there we go, I figured it out.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
What is human trafficking? Human trafficking is controlling a person or persons for the purpose of exploiting them. Most commonly, people are exploited through sex and labor. Human trafficking doesn't always mean forcing someone to cross a border. It's a crime that can happen anywhere, even in our own communities. I know this because my job is helping young people exit exploitive situations.
Wow. So human trafficking is more than, like, human trafficking is a serious thing. We shouldn't take that for granted. Like, that is just very sad to know that, you know, that happened. Look at that. Oh, Mom, look at that one. Oh my goodness, that's just despicable. But, you know, human trafficking still happens today, and my cousin Paul wrote a book about it, and it's sad to know this happened. Ooh, look at this. Look at that statue. It's just of a little girl. Bitter memories of childhood. Artwork represents a young girl suffering during the Ukrainian famine genocide. It reminds us that we struggle for human rights so that every child can grow healthy, free, and equal. Look at that. That is cool.
Oh, there's Haldimor.
Huh? What?
Haldimor.
Look at that. Oh, here's Siberian. Or Sabrinka? I don't know how to pronounce that. Sorry, I'm not good at... Apparently it was never forget the night, July 11th, 1995 genocide. Oh my goodness. I don't know what... I moved to Canada. My father, my grandfather, my cousins, my uncle, more than 50 relatives did not make it to safety. Oh, that's terrible. Here's the genocide against Tutsi in Rwanda. Like, you could see there's a letter there, and just, oh my goodness, this is brutal. Apparently this shirt with blue holes, it says here, in September 27, 1939, was wearing the shirt when he was shot and killed on April 7th, 1994, and this is the first day that genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda bullet holes can be seen on the right side of the chest. So this is my right. Yeah, right there. There it is, right there. There's the bullet hole. I'll see if I can get a little closer, but there it is. There's the bullet hole right there. Apparently, Nico Waya's son, Jean Paul, had kept this shirt in his home in Montreal as a reminder of his father and the genocide which he had lost his life. So that is sad. Apparently this is one of my favorite parts of history. I mean, I'm sad to know what happened, but the Holocaust is, I guess what I liked about the history was just, I don't know, there was just something about it, hearing about what happened. It was sad to know that so many Jewish people lost their lives that day. I was there. My mother lost 36 members of her family. I saw Nazis murdering children, sick people, young and old, and I am a witness to that. So so many people died that day. It is sad to know that. And even here is voices of survivors. And like when the camps were liberated, from what I remember learning in school, when the camps were, like, even look right here, a news article, Death Camp Horrors Recalled. When the camps were liberated, so many people tried to find their families, only to find out that they didn't make it. They either died in the gas chambers or just died trying to survive the camps, or starvation. There were so many different ways that these people had died back then. Apparently this one is Haldimor? You know this one?
It's the Holodomor. Okay, these are the famine as a weapon. Holodomor is a Ukrainian word meaning murder by hunger.
Oh no!
It's a genocide by mass starvation of Ukrainians people in the 1932 and 33.
Oh my goodness. Our family's from Ukraine, right?
Yes, that's right. And they were starving. And that's why they left and went to Germany.
Like it even says there, we were starving. Many persons have already perished. The government had robbed us of everything, swept our granaries, and left not even anything for seed. That's just sad. That is so sad. Apparently this is that.
During that time when Oma,
Huh?
your mom,
Uh-huh.
she used to, because they had so little food. She was helping work, and she used to bring her lunches home, and she would never eat them because they didn't have enough food.
What?
Daycare.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
My mom worked in a daycare. She was 14. She worked in a daycare, and there they got a sandwich for lunch, and
She would always bring it home.
and she would always bring it home. For
Why did she bring it home?
So
didn't have
that
enough
they had
food.
nothing to eat.
So she would share her sandwich with her family.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
because
Yeah,
they had no food.
they had nothing.
The country,
I'm sorry, oh my.
the country had food, but they weren't sharing it with the
The
people.
government took it over here.
Yeah, and if you tried to take,
Farming police and already caused the food shortage, and he ordered his forces to seize Ukrainians' remaining food supplies.
Yeah.
Not just Ukrainians, but all the Mennonites that lived in the area. Their language, they were not allowed to speak German at home or at school or at church. They had to all, well, the churches were all closed. They weren't allowed to have church services even in their homes, which
and
was,
if you tried to get food, you were shot.
you were shot, that's right, yeah.
And your
Unless you were rich, you had no food.
family was able to do this carefully without getting hurt?
Well, they had to. I mean, my grandfather was sent to Siberia, and we only found out about him after we came to Canada that he was still alive.
We all
But
thought
I
he-
never,
Yeah, everybody thought he was dead.
yeah, but I never saw him.
No.
I wrote letters to him after I found out he was still alive.
And he didn't die until I was an adult.
He didn't die
I
until
was in my-
1988.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was almost
But
in
he
my,
died in the Ukraine.
in the Ukraine, yeah,
Yeah.
you never met him.
No.
Well, still, that's gotta suck.
Yeah, Oma Vogt wrote a letter in Paraguay
Yeah?
and sent a picture of her husband and it said, "Is this dein Mann? Is this your husband?" And then when Oma,
Yeah.
when they were in Paraguay, Oma found out that Opa was alive.
Oh my
Until
goodness.
then, up until
Well, obviously, maybe he didn't write back because he was trying to protect his
Well,
family.
he didn't know.
didn't
Nobody
know-
knew where he
nobody
was.
knew where
This
he
is the
was.
Red Cross looking
Yeah.
for him.
He
Oh.
didn't know that they were alive, and they didn't know that he was alive. So they had the Red Cross had a newspaper that you could advertise in, so that you could find out if any of your relatives were still alive. And Oma Vogt got a letter, and it said was there a picture?
Little picture of
a little
Opa.
picture of Opa, and it said, "Is this dein Mann? Is this your husband?"
Yeah.
And that's when Oma Vogt realized that Opa was still alive.
Well, she
Wow.
always said,
She
I
thought
know
he was.
he's alive. I know he's not dead because I would know if he was dead. I would know about it.
Yeah. So he never. And Tante Hilda, the house that we live in,
Uh-huh.
I think she was the only one of the kids that never knew him, right?
Yeah. Oh no, he was gone by the time he
Yeah.
had sent to Siberia before Tante
Before
Hilda
Tante Hilda was born. Oma was pregnant with Tante Hilda, so Tante Hilda never got to meet her father.
Oh, that's
She
sad.
tried to go back to Russia to meet him.
But by the time she was if she could go back, he had passed away already, and then she decided not to go.
Yeah.
But her Uncle Peter, her brother, he went to Russia after his dad had passed away already. He went to Russia and saw where he had lived and the people he had lived with.
Okay.
None of his kids ever got to meet him.
No.
That's sad. The red ones represented the death camps, and the green were where the Nazis stayed, right? If I remember correctly, that's how it is, because this is for those who are watching, this is what the death camps in the Holocaust would look like. The brown would be where the barracks were, where the Jews would have to stay. The red is the death camps, or in this case, the gas chambers. And the green is where the Nazis would stay. And you could see they were further away from the Jews and the prisoners than everywhere else. And there weren't many death camps, but they had to make sure they had enough so that they could do what they had to do. And it's just really sad to know that this is how it was set up. And apparently here is the tools for killing in the gas chamber. So there would be pellets in this. Oma, there actually be pellets in this.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, it says right here it's Xylon B gas to quickly annihilate masses of people in the gas chambers at Auschwitz and other camps. Apparently Zyklon B canisters, Germany 1940. So this is a canister from 1940, and this right here, I believe, is a form. And they would write how many people had died in the gas chambers, if I am right. Like, if I'm right, I could be wrong. And this is a map of it says, it's a map of the gas chambers. So you can see right here, they would enter through here, and then they would go in, and that's where they would be sent to be killed. It sucks. Like it even says here, people who drafted these plans for Auschwitz helped make mass murders possible, and these blueprints at the top left show the gas chambers. So here's another blueprint of the gas chambers. And like, this is just sad, you know, this is just very sad. And here is a blueprint of Auschwitz, the entire camp. The sign at the entrance said in German, "Work will set you free," but really the only way out of the camp was death, and that's what's really sad, is these Nazis would manipulate and trick these Jews to thinking that work will set them free, that they'll be there for some time and be able to go home, when that was not the case. They were forced to work there, and they even died there. And these were some of the wire that was on the gates of the camps. So this is sad.
All around the camp too.
Yeah, it was all around it, yeah? Yeah, it was all around the camp, so this is sad. This is sad to know that that's part of our history, but hopefully this will never happen again. And apparently right here, sorry, Oma, when Nazi camps were liberated in 1945, soldiers found hundreds of thousands of shoes that belonged to those who died in the camps. And apparently this is, if I'm right, it's a little boy's shoe and a little dye. So that's sad to know. Like it says here, child's shoe from Poland.
I can't remember.
No, I can't remember the name either.
Concentration camp in Poland.
Yeah, a concentration camp in Poland, 1940. So that is sad, you know, but it reminds us that we have to make sure stuff like this doesn't happen again. No, these were the death marches. It says by 1944, it was becoming obvious that Germany would lose the war, and Nazis tried to hide their atrocities by clearing out the concentration camps for surviving prisoners. Long marches back to Germany territory, so they didn't want to get caught.
Well, no, and the people were already weak from starving, so many of the prisoners died along the way. Exhaustion and cold.
And you could see on here, like so many,
Those that couldn't walk anymore, they just shot them, and
like they just shot them and killed them. Like
if they were too tired, they fell over, and then
it says right here, if you look here, it says when Russian front was advancing, we started to march by foot in the snow. It was cold. It must have been very far from Bergen-Belsen, but it took lots of days. We saw bodies along the side on the snow, freshly killed people. Blood was running into the snow. It was horrible. Whoever didn't want to march fast enough or couldn't, they shot them right away. And yeah, they shot them, yeah. So that is sad. And apparently here, life and death in the camps beyond. So this is a Nazi cloth, and I believe they would use this for shaving, because there's a shaving kit right there. You don't need a sign to tell you that.
yeah.
So, and you could see pictures here of the camp system. Like, this is just very sad to know that this is how bad it got. And you could even see here, like, I can't remember the doctor's name, but there was a doctor in Auschwitz who would do stuff like this, who would test and do test subjects on the Jews, and I believe he was called the Angel of Death. He was never found, but some of these innocent people were used for experiments, especially twins. Twin kids were used for experiments, and nobody knows why he would do that, but that's what happened, and it sucks. And you can see here many people had died through these terrible events. And here we have mobile killing squads. So this was just another way of them killing people. They would put people into like a little like river shaft, and they would just get them to turn around and kill them. So they were coming up with so many different ways to kill people, but the most common way these people died in the Holocaust was the gas chambers. So that's very, very sad. There's a poster here, and apparently what it says here is the poster orders Jews to report to resettlement and promises a new life awaited them, when really that was not the case. The Nazis were even coming up with lies to trick the Jews to think, oh, come with us, we're going to move you somewhere where you're going to have a new life, everything's going to be fine and dandy, when that was not the case. Like, they even got letters like these telling them to pack up their things. They could only take up so little things, and they were moved to the camps, and they either worked to death, starved, or died in the gas chambers. And before that, there were these things called ghettos, where they would be moved, and you can even see your little boy here, who is starving. And after they were invading the ghettos, like you could see even in this mural here, there's a wall between the Germans and the Jews. So back then, they didn't want anyone to be around the Jews. They tried, in their case, what they thought is keep their people safe from what they called as vermin. And that was just very upsetting, because these people did not deserve it. And apparently this is a Ukrainian Jewish man forced to the edge of the mass grave. And apparently it says that mobile killing squads worked with the German army seeking out killing Jews, Romani, and uncooperative local leaders. So that's one of the men. That's very sad. This, apparently people with disabilities didn't have it so lucky either. Apparently disabilities have faced discriminations, but the Nazis pushed this into prejudice to murderous extremes. They began with public health programs sterilizing people who deemed genetically defective. So, and children and adults were murdered in the gas chamber. So if you had a disability, so like say someone with autism had a disability,
The parents were sterile, the mom was sterile.
like the mom was sterilized, or they could have been killed in the gas chambers.
Yes.
So if Malachi and I were around in that time, we could have been killed in the gas chambers back then. And that is just very sad to know that people like me back in those times were killed just for being who they are. It really breaks my heart to know, like, not just people with physical disabilities, but mental disabilities were also killed in the gas chambers. So that's sad. That breaks my heart. And apparently this is different badges of what people were in the camps. So hang on, let's see if we can find out what they say. There's a letter written by a Jehovah's Witness, and I'm guessing that's that right there.
Different badges of badges,
Yeah, different badges that prisoners wore.
meaning the cloth badges issued in 1938.
Yeah, each different cloth represented someone different.
Yeah, different people.
Yeah, each cloth.
Which were Jews and
Politisch, Berufsverbrecher, so
Oh,
political.
I don't know what they say, Mom.
Politisch is political.
Okay.
Berufsverbrecher are
people that were professors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay, who else?
immigrants, which is
Immigrants.
Immigrants,
Bibel,
What's Bible?
Bible,
Bible.
people who were religious.
religious people.
Really? Even people who are Christians? Oh my goodness.
So their belief.
Ja. Homosexuell.
Yeah, homosexuals.
Was ist die letzte? What's the last one?
I don't know.
I have so hard time
Well,
reading
then,
the Goethe.
well, the Goethe is just harder to read, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what that last one is.
You wouldn't be able to read it anyway. It's Goethe. You can't read Goethe.
No, I wish I could. Apparently this is a letter by a Jehovah's Witness, apparently.
Yeah, they were like the Mennonites. They were conscientious objectors, and if you were a conscientious objector,
Well, and I just went to the disability one. I found out if Malachi and I were around in these times, we would have been killed and get the gas chambers.
Yeah, you would have been killed in the gas chambers. Yeah, absolutely.
That is just so messed up.
Well, because you were
Mentally.
no, you were a drain on society. It cost money to take care of you, so they
And,
wanted
and the moms
only.
were sterilized.
Yeah,
That is
you would
just,
have been at best, you would have been sterilized. You would have been allowed to live, but you and Malachi would never have been able to have children. They would have prevented you from having children. At worst, they would have killed you.
yeah, see, and that's where just
Because you were a
really,
drain on the economy.
yeah, Jehovah's Witnesses were religious minority
Because they're,
German.
like Mennonites, they're conscientious objectors. And if you were a conscientious objector, you weren't worth anything because you weren't willing to fight.
Well, it
the war.
says the witnesses easy targets of the Nazis who
Yeah.
portrayed a group dangerously subversive. Witnesses refused to serve in the army,
Yes, they were
joined.
that's why I said they were conscientious objectors, that like
Yeah.
we were.
Apparently, they wouldn't even give Nazi salutes or send their children to the Hitler Youth. I'm sorry, that's a smart decision. That is the smartest, best decision they could have made.
to get involved with the Hitlerjugend, because what they used to do is it started as a club. It started as a club, and they used to take kids to movies and give them candy.
Yeah.
And they used to do fun things for free.
Yeah.
But once Hitler got into power, then it became a political party, even for the kids.
Well, and you see like persecution of homosexuals, like genocides of Romani people.
Those are gypsies.
Yeah.
Figure out what
Like, look at this. This is just a young gypsy girl.
Cipoina was, and then I
Apparently, it says here, right here, that Romani children were subjected to medical experiments and died in the concentration camps. So this was a little girl from the camp who died. So that's very sad. Okay, so we're now in the Native American, not Native American. What is it called again, Mom? First Nations. Thank you. Oh, Mom, look, Donald Duck. What skirt? Let's see.
Skirt with a bullet hole.
Where's the bullet hole? Oh, I see it right there. Yeah, I see it right there.
Uganda, 2005.
Apparently, she was captured during a military ambush. She was 10-day-old. She and her 10-day-old baby were fired by the government soldier, but manager escaped injury. Evelyn and her children were later taken to rehabilitation center for survivors. That's gotta suck. Look at that. Handwritten lyrics of a song that's been written here. So that is pretty cool. Apparently this is a camera and a notebook. Self-taught photographer. Like, and these are the pictures he took. Like, that is just really cool. And there's his notebook. That is so cool. And Mom and Omar are taking a break because they are tired.
Yes, we're old.
I know, Mom, but I gotta have some fun with it. Apparently this is a card, supports the sister, Alba and Rachel. Like, look at that. Yeah, this exhibit isn't too big, but yeah, and here's a birth certificate. Unawaited certificate of amnesty. Apparently it says, hoping the end of war in Uganda, government passed an amnesty law to pardon those who joined the LRA, formerly abduct girls and women who were also expected to apply. Some refused because they saw themselves as victims, not members. So there you go, that's what that is. That's it, guys. That was my vlog video of walking through the Human Rights Museum. I hope you all enjoyed this video. And I hope you learned some things. Like, it was cool. I got to learn some things today about my family history and culture. And yeah, this was a really fun trip. So thank you all for watching. This is Kaber 101 signing out. Adios, everybody.